Hey guys, RC here, back with a Fallout mod review. Um, Still getting used to this one. I actually watched a video on it last night, so I wanted to uh, put one up on my channel just to kind of spread the news because it looks really interesting. One of the things about playing Fallout, I have been very heavily involved in doing character builds for Fallout, and I don't know, I've got 4 or 5 that I've put up. I've got 1 or 2 more in the works, and I started on a new one yesterday. And last night I was just browsing, some YouTube channels and came across this mod from one of the guys that I watch, and he certainly did a great video. But his name is Oxhorn. So if you want to look at his video on this mod, feel free to look it up. But I like Oxhorn's stuff. But what I liked about it, at least the way that it looked in the video, is I have found while I like the settlement building, you can really only build a settlement so many times before you get sick of it. And if you're doing it more for character building like I am, because I have yet to even finish the game, because I get to a certain point, I finish the build that I'm currently working on, I get another idea I want to try. So I do have one particular build that's going to be kind of a long-term build for me, but you know, like I said, I just started a new one yesterday, and I think this mod may help with some of the settlement building woes that I think are probably commonplace with Fallout players. And maybe I'm misjudging everybody. Maybe it's just me, but like I said, I kind of got burned out on it, even though I love it. I like doing it, but you can only do it so many times, and then you're like, oh god, I got to do this again. So this was a mod that changes how settlement building works to where you still have a large amount of input, but have to do less of the minutia of settlement building. And what do I mean by that? Well, first off, it's the name is Sim Settlements, so naturally Sim, very similar to The Sims, Sim City, of that nature. And so I will show you kind of what it's about. But it's by where's his name here? King Gath. So appreciate him putting this mod together. It's got almost 100,000 downloads and 3,100 endorsements. I think it's pretty good. I haven't voted or endorsed for it yet, just because I haven't played with it enough, and I'm assuming it will come out fine. And if it does, then I will endorse it myself. So let's go into works, or what you have to do. Everybody probably recognizes this place, the Hall of Freedom in Concord, where you meet Preston Garvey. I have already cleared this, and I've gotten a little further into the game, but I kind of wanted to show you where to start with this mod. As you're clearing out the hall here, and you just bear with me as we run through here. Let's see. It shouldn't have been enough time for anything to respawn in here, so I'm just going to run through. Alright, when you get up here, of course, that room there is where Preston Garvey's at. In this room here that runs the length of the hallway, this broken up room, you want to come down to this table, and you'll notice there's something new here. There is normally not a terminal here, and there are these boxes on the floor, and I have taken them, but up on top of these 2 filing cabinets are a stack of, I don't know, I think it might have been 6 more boxes just like these. And what these had was, I'll actually show you what they're called, these ASAM sensors, and I was able to pick up, I think, 157 of them. I've already used a couple back in Sanctuary, which we'll go look at in a little while. But here on the desk, you get the City Manager holotape, and there are a couple of loose sensors on the counter here, a couple on the floor, a couple that remain in these boxes, and there are some full boxes up on top. Just pick them all up, and then you have to load that holotape into your Pip-Boy. And that's the important thing. It only works in the Pip-Boy. In fact, if you actually look at the terminal, you'll see this email that was sent by Jane Williams. We received the new version of your program, but you sent us the Pip-Boy edition. And all these doohickeys are last year's model, hundreds of them. What are we going to do? So they're here, and it's the Pip-Boy model, so you have to load it into your Pip-Boy. So when you first load it in, you will actually get a booting screen. Before you get this, it'll actually searching for Pip-Boy, Pip-Boy found, syncing up, checking memory, things of that nature. And then when you're done, you get to this point here. Well, there are setup notifications. We'll go through that first. This is where everything that you can turn on and off, pretty much everything. There's taxes in here. It has agricultural, commercial, industrial, and residential. You can turn notifications on, off, what have you. Here's the information on the sensors. Basically, they use laser survey technology to set up a boundary so your citizens know exactly where to build. If you've played SimCity, there are 3 types of zones that you can place: commercial, industrial, residential. And all you do is you place the zone where you want it, and then the Sims in the game will build up everything in that area. And as the area gets better or the population increases, they will upgrade the building. So you might set a residential zone, and they'll build a 1-story single-family house. Well, and it may hold 6 people. I haven't played SimCity in a little while, but say it holds 6 people. Well, then it needs to upgrade because your population and the beauty of the area gets better, and they'll tear it down and they'll build a 2-story mansion that'll hold 12 people. And then they may tear that down and they may build a tower, that will hold 30 people in it, something of that nature. Well, this mod basically does the same thing. Now, if you ever want to uninstall this, before you uninstall it, you just uninstall it using Nexus Mod Manager. Before you do that, you come in and you start the self-destruct sequence. That blows up everything that you've done in the game with this mod. Okay? So, and then once that's done, then you can, of course, go back and clear all that out yourself, and then uninstall the mod and then get back to the business. Now, it does do a few things differently from vanilla. It doesn't change the basic gameplay. It just changes how it operates. And I hope I don't freeze here. Sometimes I freeze on these loading screens. Oh, nope, good. We're going to do a quick save there, and then I'm going to fast travel to Sanctuary. Now, the first thing, there are 4 types of zones that you can place: agricultural, commercial, industrial, and residential. So, the first one we're going to look at is the agricultural. And here we have 3 agricultural zones. Now, I can still come in and harvest these. I do want to go check something. I have not touched these since I put them in. I want to come and check. All right, I don't see any carrots. All right, so they may not self-harvest extraneous food, but basically what you do is you open your workshop like normal. You go into your special, and within your special, down here we have these colored. So the green one is agricultural, the blue is commercial for businesses, the yellow is industrial, very exactly the same color as The Sims, and then the red is residential. Of course, green is residential, I think, in The Sims from what I remember, but in this case it's red because we have the agricultural. And outside of the agricultural, which is just the flat on the ground, you have the flat, you have on a concrete slab foundation and on a wood pier foundation. So you can elevate that however you want. So it helps tie in with your settlement building design. Now, you really have to put some thought into your layout, so you don't cram everything in too fast. But basically, you would just take that, and you'll notice on there, do you see the arrow? It's at the bottom right now, and it's rotating clockwise on the picture. Well, if we raise it up, there you see the arrow. Well, that's the kind of the facing point. You'll also notice it has that little post. Now these things snap in also. They will actually snap with other things that you've already put out there. So like I have this one right here, it'll snap right next to it. And you can see, even though it's elevated because of this slope, the other one was too, but look what it does. It makes this big dirt mound, and they plant in it. So it still looks realistic. There's no floating. They've done a really good job. Now these rotate. So when I first planted this one, it was gourds. And then this one's melons. And then it was carrots. And then I dug this one up and I replanted it. It was mute fruits. So, they do operate in a rotational basis. So I would guess, just off the top of my head, the next one will be razor grain and then potatoes, if I had to guess. Now, you can still plant your regular stuff just like you would if you want to. But again, what's really good about this, well, first off, the change. In vanilla, one person assigned to farming can harvest 6 crops. In this one, they can only harvest 2. So I have 3 plots. That gives us 6 food, and that takes 3 people. Now, these may not be the best to use at the beginning of your game, but more as you get into your game down the road. And the goal is to basically bring your communities more to life, to have more people working instead of sitting around. That way they're off doing stuff, moving around. But you can still harvest these and use them for all the things that you would do, just like before. And you can see they have 2 mute fruit trees. That's 2 food. We had 4 melons. That's 2 food. We had 4 carrots. 2 food per plot. But it's one person can only do 1 plot, so 2 food. So again, it may not be the best to use early on, but let's say that you've planted some potatoes or something here, or at Abernathy Farm, you can dig up all those potatoes and then lay these plots out, and then when you've got 20 people, you can have 10 10 people will be working farms and then have your other people doing something else. And what's really great about this is when you lay the plot out, it's just the plot. There's nothing there except for the outline of the plot that you're using. In fact, let me go ahead and put one down just so you can see it. All right, so if I want to put it right there, there it is. Now I can highlight it. It's unoccupied, and it puts on the post a for rent sign. And the game, once you activate the mod, it will actually assign somebody to that, and there you go. So it's actually built now. There's the dirt filled in, and it's an over time. Now I don't want this one right now, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scrap this. Yep, it'll blow it up. That'll go away. But there's some neat graphics with it, you know. So you have the blow up when you destroy it, but you know, so it piles the dirt on, and then you'll get a pop-up in the left-hand corner underneath where it says people up there. You'll get a little pop-up notice that somebody has been assigned to it, and you know, then they'll come out and start working it. The crops will appear. So that's how the agricultural works. Now, when you want to do residential, so I have come over here, I have taken one of these 2 destroyed houses, I have demolished it, and I put, there's a residential plot with the arrow pointing towards me, so pointing towards the middle, and my thinking was I would put one here and one here, both facing the middle, and we'd end up with like an alley here. Now, they come in and they build it all by themselves. So we've got a little sleeping bed in there, a dresser. They furnish it themselves. They move things around, so the next time I come back, maybe they'll have the dresser over here and the mattress laid out in the middle. As we get more people, or as it gets quote unquote wealthier, I could come back and they'll have upgraded the shack and it'll be something different. So again, this just brings change without you having to do anything. The characters are basically living in the settlement, and even when you're gone, they're doing stuff. So that's how the residential works. And again, that does add a bed because I only had 5 beds, and now they've built this house, and that's added a 6th bed in there. So that's awesome. And then the other type that I did is the industrial, and basically it's a scrap pile. So there's my industrial plot. Now some of these do take power, but you notice they have power poles that you can actually hook power up to. So that's actually really nice. And what this does is they come in and the dirt will appear just like the agriculture. I used this one with the concrete slab so you can see the foundation under there to make it level. And they'll just have junk appear. And I don't exactly know what this does. I'm guessing that they salvage this over to the workbench. I didn't know if that was like the crops where I could salvage that and scrap that stuff myself, but I'm guessing very much like the salvagers table that you can build, I'm guessing they put something similar there. So let's see if we go into junk. It's hard to tell because, you know, a lot of this I've already had here, but I think that's how that works. And then of course the last one is, tell you what, in fact we will scrap this house, and then I want to come in and put a commercial. Again, I'm not going to use a slab because I can already see it. Now you can put these down quickly, then you can come back and move them if you want. Now that does take power, so I will put another generator down. All right, and there you see it's got the for rent sign. It's already got a lot of the foundation stuff there. And it takes time. They actually have settings. In fact, we can go into the Pip-Boy with that holotape, and you have realistic building times on or off. So if you have them on, if it takes 2 weeks to build a house, then it's going to take 2 weeks in the game. If you know, but it automatically assigns if you want them to do that, and so all this happens while you're, even when you're not around. And then every time you come back, it could be different. Now the crops will probably always be the same, but the house could be changed. It could have a different layout. They could have moved the furniture around inside. They could add some of their own decorations in here. Stuff like that. And again, there's nothing that stops you from coming in and spicing it up. Let's say I want to do let's say I want to put a wall light in there. Well, I mean, look right there. I can put a wall light in. No big deal. And we can also put a power conduit up here. Now, so we could do that. And so, it just brings some vibrant change. There's the light. It works fine. But again, they'll come in and they'll make changes. Now, again, I don't know if they'll add lights. I don't know if they'll add electricity. I doubt it. So that stuff you'll still have to do. But you have the commercial, you have the residential. The commercial one, of course, is still for rent. It does take a little time. It does not happen immediately, which is good. I mean, you don't want it to be cheesy, but just the fact that you can, come in, set it up, they'll do all the work, and as you get more people, then it becomes more and more viable to do that. Let's see. Yeah, I still need some stuff for to build my transmitter, and that's okay. We'll get that worked out at some point. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of a very interesting mod that would really change settlement building. And you can see you've got to put a little thought into how you're going to do it. Like I said, Oxhorn did a video where he kind of showed how to lay out areas. So, like, you may want to put like just it's all about spacing, right? So if you want to come in and you want to put a stairway in here, and we want to put it right up against the house, right there, and then we can add in floor structures up here. So you could do something like that, and then you could come back with, say, another staircase. Right there. And then we could come back and we could put in a commercial but on a raised slab, and there it clicks into it. So well, it clicked in a second ago. All right, there, so you can see right there where it will click, and you can see it clicking. So it won't go over that foundation, but there are some ways to get that to happen. You could even put one there, and then basically pillar glitch in another foundation underneath it if you wanted to. So different ways to do it. Use your spacing just like you would in a regular settlement, but really kind of game plan your layouts, what you want it to look like, where you want things to be, to where you don't end up using all the same spaces. I thought I built a gun. I wonder if it got destroyed. I didn't have an attack. I'm just thinking out loud because I did the quest. Yeah. I wonder why that is not working. Now that's not working because I have not assigned anybody, but that's okay. So anyway, that's the major change with that mod, and it frees you up to just basically go quest and play the game and not get caught up in the minutia of building building the buildings themselves. You just plop the plots down where you want them, where you want things to go, and boom, they happen. So you've got scrap piles that will generate scrap for you. You've got commercial, which will generate businesses for you. You've got residential for homes. And you've got agricultural for your farming. So it really covers every aspect of the settlement. And again, at the end of the day, when you get 20 people in here, or let's say that you use the glitch to up that, and you get as many as 30 people or so, a lot of times there's a lot of people just sitting around doing nothing, and you're having to micromanage. In this way, it actually keeps more people assigned, and with more people having to deal with farming, it does take more space. Certainly takes more space. If you kind of look at how we have this back here, I mean, honestly, we could probably put 8, maybe 10 plants squeezed in this one plot, and we've got 2. I could probably squeeze, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could probably squeeze 30 carrots in here if I tried real hard, and we've got 4. So it does take more space. It is going to be more land intensive, so you might not be able to use this, say, in a smaller place like Hangman's Alley, but in your larger places like Sanctuary, or the Drive-In, or what's the other one? The Sunshine Co-op. That's it, over on the west side. Those areas would certainly benefit from that. Now, what I don't know, I am guessing, because, in fact, I guess we could test that. Let me come in and build. Let me just build a structure here. All right. And then if I wanted to build, say, a commercial on top of that, now it looks like it exceeds the size, but there it is. It's on top. And yeah, basically that is and and you can't even walk in there because it's taken up. So it looks like that's going to be probably a 2x2 foundation area, right? So you'd have to lay a 2x2 foundation area for each building. So that gives you an idea of how you would have to do that. And again, as you get more people, right now I just don't have anybody extra, but you know, what they will do is when they're not working and doing other things, eventually it will assign somebody here. Although commercial, until I have somebody free, it may not. It may leave that blank. The house doesn't need somebody permanently assigned to it, so it went ahead and did it even though I didn't have an extra person or a need for the bed. But I'm thinking that commercial might, because they have to be assigned to that to work it, just like the farms. So I'll need to get a 6th settler here, and I do not have the materials to make the settlement beacon just yet. Probably screwed up and should have done that first, but anyway, I think this mod has a lot of potential. I'm excited to see how it develops, but again, from the video, you know, the businesses, the houses, you know, I mean, the next time I come, that house could look completely different as they've upgraded and updated it. Or it may be the same structure, but they've rearranged the furniture in the house. So basically, it's actually being lived in by the residents. They're actually going in and moving stuff around, just like you would. Maybe you come home one day and you go, hey, you know, I need to, yeah, I want to move the couch over here and move the chair over there. You know, in the vanilla game, we can't do that unless we go in and do it ourselves. And then we're making all the decisions, and we're having to get tied into, you know, being in our settlements for, you know, an hour, 2 hours, you know, whatever. And again, the first time I did that, it was fabulous. Second time I did it, it was really good. The 12th time I've done it, you know, I mean, I've been there, I've done it, and I've done it a lot. So I really don't feel the need to do it again. So that's one reason that this mod excited me, because I can't see playing without settlements, you know, for the farming, for the materials, so I can make vegetable oil and whatnot. But this kind of gets you around that. So anyway, I do appreciate you checking out the video. I hope you check out the mod, give it a try, and appreciate it. You guys have a good one.